Pulse 95 Live. At Expo Centre Sharjah.
Hello and welcome back to Pulse 95, broadcasting live right here at the Sharjah Expo Center at the 6th edition of XPOSURE. This is the world-class international photography festival that celebrates the world of photography and film. And for the past couple of days, we've been getting a chance to talk with phenomenal storytellers, photographers. But this time around, we brought somebody who is sort of behind the curtains, someone whose job is to orchestrate the tasks and the missions for these photographers. We are welcoming today Whitney Johnson. Welcome, Whitney.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Nice to have you here. And now, just for formality, Whitney Johnson is the Vice President of Visual and Immersive Experiences at National Geographic. She leads the visual and immersive teams overseeing photography, video, Instagram, and podcast teams. That's quite the duty you have there at National Geographic. But I wanted to ask you, this is your first time at XPOSURE. I just want to see how has your experience been so far?
It's been pretty amazing. You know, I have some colleagues who have come here multiple times, and they've tried to explain to me what this festival is all about. And I think I kind of underestimated the presentation of it. It's like no other festival I've been to. You know, the respect for photographers and the exhibitions is really unique, and the diversity of what is being shown is pretty amazing.
And as someone who spends a lot of time, who gets kind of busy, you never get the chance to sit around with these photographers because they're out and about. They're trying to cover the latest stories. Having to be here in this incubator, and getting a chance to meet some legendary storytellers. How's that been?
Yeah, I mean, I am fortunate to know most of these legendary storytellers who are here, but as you said, it's not all the time that we have the opportunity to actually sit down and have a conversation, to share a meal, and to go deep with them, you know? And I've been looking at Jem Noctaway's pictures for 20 or 25 years, you know, which is not as long as some people have been looking at his images.
Yeah.
But still, as I walked through the exhibition here and I went into his show, I just stopped, because his images, to have that time to be with them, they're like nothing else, you know, they just stop you in your tracks. And I think having that time to really be with images when so often we're passing through them on our phones in a pretty fleeting manner is something special.
Yeah, and you've been in the industry for a very long time. You know that those images have left tremendous impact, and coming back to see them again, and it's like, it still has that same level of impact. It's timeless, like just stands the test of time.
Yeah, it really crystallizes, I think, the power of a single image. You know, I'm very much about where we're going, and as my title kind of might hint at, you know, I'm really excited about where we're going with visual storytelling, but at the same time, there's a purpose for still photography, and these images can stop a moment in time and really sear it in our brains collectively in a way that, you know, maybe motion can't.
Speaking of where you're going, I saw you at the opening ceremony. You were talking about the legacy of National Geographic and stepping into this new generation of content creation that dabbles in the technology of augmented reality and virtual reality, and what you guys are doing at National Geographic. And I wanted to ask you, this new tech, do you see it seeping into the Web 3.0, the Metaverse in any way?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we've been having a lot of fun with augmented reality and virtual reality over the last few years. It's really been an opportunity to just reach our audiences where they're at. I mean, we have a tremendous following on Instagram. I've sort of lost track. I think it's maybe 206 million people following us there as of today.
Oh, wow.
It will probably be more tomorrow. So really thinking about how do we do storytelling and meet our audiences there. And, you know, last year we had the opportunity to take, 50 million viewers to the top of Mount Everest. That's as journalists, as storytellers, we probably want nothing more than to have our work seen, right? We're there to communicate and tell stories and have something to say. So if we can do that in an exhibition, that's fantastic. If we can do that through augmented reality, that's also fantastic.
But the metaverse.
The
virtual space. There's, I think, boundless potential and limitless possibilities as to what this could unfold in the near future. And I'm sure sooner or later, Nat Geo and your team would like to be involved in some kind of way.
100%. And it's, something that we are collectively already speaking about. I think that the metaverse is, a term that we're all trying to figure out exactly what it means. It's a little bit, I don't know, scary to some people, intimidating to some people. Disruptive for sure. But in many ways, we're already there, right? I mean, think about what the pandemic has done to accelerate our understanding of how we need digital spaces for social interaction, right? If you look at the gaming space, right? People are gaming not just individually, they're gaming collectively. It's a way to really share that experience with your friends. And augmented reality and virtual reality are certainly kind of on the fringe of that space as well. I think, look, we've lived the past decade in sort of Web 2.0, right? Where web went from being something that was fixed. You would go to your personal computer, you would interact with the web for a period of time, and then you would step away from it. Then we went into Web 2.0, where you carry the internet with you in your pocket. It was always a part of that interaction. And now, as we move into Web 3.0, it's about inhabiting the digital space. And I just see it as an extension of our opportunities for visual storytelling. That's it. We should really embrace that technology and see where it takes us.
Yeah, even though it can be scary.
I was going to say, how do you see, obviously you are in charge of this at Nat Geo, and Nat Geo has an enormous history of the importance of a still image and storytelling. And you said it yourself, the power of a still image here when you see it printed. How do you see you might transpose that into Web 3.0 to provide that power that you get standing in front of one of Jim Nachtwey's 6-foot life-size prints? How are you going to make that work?
Yeah, I don't know if it's about, I try not to think about it as transferring one thing to another. I try to think about it as a completely new space. And I try to think about the things that make that photography powerful, right? It's having something to say. It's a storyteller. It's the editing and curation that goes into creating that content to really use all the tools we have at our fingertips to kind of tell the best story we can. So, I mean, we're thinking about ways that we can do that in these spaces. I think virtual reality has showed us that we can democratize access to some of these places. I haven't had the chance to go to Machu Picchu. Could be I haven't had the time, could be I don't have the money, could be I'm not fit enough to climb up there. But to be able to travel there with Nat Geo in our virtual reality experience, and then not only be there in the present day, but to go back in time and see how that space was actually utilized. Those are opportunities that we can't deliver in a still photograph, but we're still doing impactful storytelling.
You're still taking people on a journey, I guess.
Taking people on a journey.
Quite
and that's
literally.
pretty fundamental to National Geographic.
Yeah, I can imagine a few years from now, there will be like virtual hubs, like almost like a museum. You just put your VR headset and you're walking in this virtual space, and you can see James' work right from your bedroom, and there would be all the history and details of each single picture. Sometimes maybe you can tap into it, and it takes you to a 3D space of that place, and you can even get immersed even more and let it just almost, take your breath away. And I wanted to ask you, because excitingly enough, Disney Plus is going to be coming to the Middle East sometime in summer of this year. And a lot of us are excited because there's a lot of Disney fans outside. But what Disney Plus is bringing is also all of the other categories of content. There's ESPN, there is Nat Geo.
Of course.
And having Nat Geo be available to a lot of Middle Eastern countries is like breaking that boundary for a lot of us.
100%. I mean, I think anything we can do to make our content more accessible is a win. And, I've been fortunate to travel to many places around the world, and I am struck that everyone always knows what that yellow rectangle means.
Yeah.
Many of those people have never seen the Yellow Bordered magazine, right? They've encountered our content in other ways. It's been through the show that used to come on at 9 p.m. at night, or it's been through Instagram more recently. So bringing that content again to people in these kind of in all these ways is just it's a win for us, and it really is about the story, right? It's about putting the story at the center and making it accessible and really meeting our audiences where they're at. So.
Yeah. You're right, and especially because the pandemic has given rise to streaming. A lot of us have forced to be sitting at home, and so streaming almost became king. Theaters would close just because nobody would go out, and it's still a struggle for, you know, those big blockbuster films. But streaming has now become paramount, and there is an expansion from not only Disney, from HBO, and you know, and it's nice to see that Nat Geo is making those strides, you know, and it'd be nice to revisit. I know as a kid I used to watch plenty of Nat Geo, and I'm excited when Disney Plus comes that I can go back and start enjoying a lot of the content that is provided.
Have the whole catalog.
Awesome.
I like the fact he says back when he was a kid. We were just discussing
I
how
know.
much younger he is than us, weren't we?
One more thing. You have a seminar tomorrow from 5 p.m. all the way to 6, titled New Voices, New Visions. To our listeners, what can they expect from this seminar?
Yeah, I mean, I think you'll hear a little bit of an expansion of what we've been talking about here today. You know, I'm very interested in the way that National Geographic has, of course, for many, always been synonymous with photography, but it's always also been synonymous with innovation, and I think we can't forget that, and that's all the more reason to be pushing into Web 3.0 and into the Metaverse. It's really, it's ingrained in our DNA at National Geographic, and I'll be talking about that a little bit more with all of you tomorrow.
Great to hear that. To all those who want to come and check out the seminar, it's tomorrow from 5 p.m. right here at the auditorium at Sharjah Expo Center. Whitney Johnson, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, likewise. Let's take a bit of a break, and coming up next, we're just going to wrap up the show. A little bit more details on how you can get to the event, the workshops, and all of the sessions that are available from today and tomorrow right here on Pulse 95.